Vexed, and they've been by far the better side this season, but Concha that in particular has been a mainstay for them. They've been so impressive there. They haven't lost a single game there. Neither on Coastline, but they haven't gone there quite as many times. Enviik, on the other hand, have not won on any of these maps, basically. They did manage to take a win on Coastline last week, but that was reviewed, so it didn't count in the end. But basically, yeah, they're definitely struggling, and this map ban phase doesn't bode well for them. But they have shown some promise on Coastline, as mentioned, so that might be the closer game of the two. I believe we're going to have a quick look here at the teams. And yes, we are. So Enviik here, as you can see, the lineup for today: Sir Pega, Mr. Easter, Zandini, Hoshi, and Sugi. So we'll make sure to double check when we get into game that is absolutely the correct one. Hoshi, just in case you're wondering, has left the roster but is still playing with the team. So we'll see if he's got a replacement or not for today. As far as I'm aware, this should be the proper lineup. And yep, as we can see as well, flicking over onto Vex, we have Dowie, Harris, Yuzus, Josh, Glitch, and At. These names should be pretty familiar to you as well if you've been following the UK scene for a while. They are the ex-Demise roster that have been showing a lot of promise. They came second in the UK Prem recently to the ex-Crazy roster, who've also moved on to a different name. And yeah, they've all been very impressive performers. In particular, Yuzus has been a standout player for a lot of their matches. Plenty of highlight clips to his name, and yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for this match. So, while we're waiting for all of the players to ready up, let's just have a quick chat about the two teams and their sort of their records so far on these maps so far. So first of all, we're going to start off with Coastline and Enviik. As mentioned, they managed to get that win against Timber last week, and it was struck from the record. So they are yet to find that win, but they did manage to pick up their first win of the season last week overall with a successful map against Timber, and that was Theme Park, if I remember rightly. So that was a good way to get going for them. It did take a while, but eventually they've gotten off that 0 marker on their win column. So yeah, they've been showing a little bit more promise recently, which is perhaps something to give them a bit of confidence going into this. But you couldn't ask for a tougher team than Vexed. And as mentioned, they've played Coastline a couple of times this season, also against Timber, winning 7-3, and against London Esports, and they've since renamed and become Audacity. But yeah, so 2 wins for Vex so far this season. Also, while we're on the topic of Audacity, just as a brief update to the league, unfortunately, similarly to Regnant a few weeks ago, Audacity have also now left the league. So as with Regnant's departure, everyone that was going to and has played Audacity is instead being granted a double 7-0 win. So that does affect the standing somewhat more than Regnant leaving. Regnant were bottom with no wins, so everyone just got a free bonus 6 points or so. Whereas Audacity were sort of middling side. They were in 6th before they left, so some of those wins, some of those losses will work out differently for different teams that gain those points. So a little bit of a table shake-up near the end, but not too much of one, don't worry, because basically Audacity had they had never gained 2 wins in a single play week against anyone. So basically no single team as a result of this is going to be gaining more than 4 points, I think, if my maths is correct. So it shouldn't shake up the table too much, but there might be a few swap places here or there that will be worth checking out as soon as those league standings are updated, and we'll be with you with that as soon as we can. Still waiting on these players to get on in. We're almost ready, just waiting for one more player on Vex, so do stick around. We're almost about to go into Coastline. Speaking of Coastline, it's been one of Enviik's maps that we've really seen Hoshi, who I can see is now in the lineup and ready to play today. In particular, Hoshi has really shone on this map, and he has basically made a habit of getting 4Ks pushing through Kitchen as either Ash or IQ. He does it week in, week out, seemingly, despite the team's inability to actually net the result on Coastline, unfortunately for them. So I'm just getting word that one of the players is having PC issues, so that's why there's a slight delay on your match, but we should be ready to start as soon as they're back in. The other thing that stands out to me about Enviik as well on Coastline is they're not afraid to get a bit creative. So Vex may be faced with some weird strategies. We saw, for instance, a warden being played a couple of weeks ago by them inside a kitchen, trying to hold on the kitchen as an extended part of the blue bar and sunrise bar hold. So they can definitely bring some surprises to the table, but if anyone's been watching Vexed for the past several play weeks that have been in this league, flexible is their name. They've been so ready and willing to go with any sort of operator lineup, all sorts of strategies on every sort of map. Coastline especially can lean right into the team that is just able to get more of those frags. And quite honestly, Enviik are going to have quite a tough task against them to get points on them on the board on Coastline. And then when it comes to Consulate, I mean, I'm expecting a fairly one-sided game, but I might be being a bit biased there. So, yeah, just so you got a bit of context as well about Vex, they've basically been the favorites to win this league for pretty much since the start of the league, and they're doing that mark a bit of justice, really, by currently sitting top, but they are closely followed by Lucendi and Revenge. So there's definitely a kind of big three emerging in the league right now of Vex, Lucendi, and Revenge. They're all sitting within a few points of each other, right up at the top, and then the rest of the teams sort of scrabbling for those remaining championship places, playoff places, I should say. And just in case you're unaware, the way this league works, we get a regular league season of 9 games, everyone in a round robin, and then the top 6 teams go through to the championship playoffs, which is a elimination format playoff that determines the final victor. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you finish 6th; you do have a chance at actually claiming that grand prize at the end of it all, which is of course the €100 prize pool. So it looks like we're almost all ready to get going in the game. We're getting our readies from Enviik are almost ready. We got Vexed almost ready as well. And yeah, Vexed, I should mention, they've almost certainly sealed their spot in the playoffs. I believe it's mathematically impossible for them not to get into the playoffs. Enviik are still trying to secure that spot, obviously with the departure of Audacity. They are propped up to 8th now rather than the 9th position that they were sat in, and that means that championship places are only 2 places above them, and that's not too many points either. There's really not much separating those teams down there. UX and Timber are the ones kind of scrabbling for that, but it looks like we are ready to go and ready to head into the game. We have it now. It is Coastline, Enviik versus Vex for our first and only game of the day. 2 maps, so we'll have Coastline and then we'll have Consulate, so do stick around for that one as well. We're going to be going into the ban phase right here, and Vex are on defense first for Coastline. We've seen them consistently ban out Mirror on defense, and in recent times, more of the Ying rather than the Capitao, but it looks like they're taking Capitao off the board. They've been fond banners. They've been fond of banning Capitao and basically any sort of execute utility when going into a match. And they did seem to switch to preferring Ying for a while, given her recent buff. But I think they've maybe learned to deal with that again, and they're going back to their standard ban of Capitao. Buck being the ban from Enviik, a very tasty one there. We've seen more and more Buck bans, especially on Coastline in recent times, with that vertical destruction being so important, and specifically the bottom-up vertical destruction that allows you to take control of sites like Hookah, and also exerting pressure onto kitchen and bars whenever you're attacking there. Definitely makes it a lot harder. Vexed, as expected, banning out that mirror, and it's actually going to be a Maestro ban for Enviik for this map. So echo that one of the power trio left on the board. So expect to see a fair amount of him. But yeah, like I said, this could be basically coming down to whichever side frags out best. It's a common, it's a bit of a cliche now, if anything, on Coastline. You might be sick of hearing casters mention it, but it really does ring true a lot of the time. So we're going to stick by it. Zofia being brought there by Sepega, that lovely new elite skin rocked out there. And we're seeing a Valkyrie being picked by Melons here. Switching off that Echo, we do have the IQ on the side of
Defenders, protect your bombs
on
from
the
being
side of
defused by
Vex for the
attackers.
defense, or on the side of Enviik rather for the attack, and of course that is Hoshi. He's so fond of that particular operator, bringing that GA-A1 to just try and tear through people. It's very rare that we see him use the scanner. In fact, me and Fraser were ribbing him last week about that, but then just as we said it, he did bring it out, so we felt a bit
Attackers have located a
silly
bomb.
in that instance. But we'll be keeping a counter every time we get to see Hoshi rather bring out that scanner on screen, and he should be doing so fairly frequently because they've got that Vigil as well as the Valkyrie on the lineup. A very hard counter to both of those
5
operators,
seconds left before insertion.
and yeah, it would be a shame not to see that utility made use of.
Bomb.
Hooker defense is the first port of call for Vex, and one thing that has typified their play style here is Dowie and his runouts, as well as users in those runouts, but is, of course, Dowie to get that first one with the Vigil. Coming out of VIP Lounge, anyone who's done a bit of homework on them on Coastline should be expecting that, and really that's just not great from Enviik to fall foul of that right at the start. Already a 4 versus 5 now for them. So game entry to delivery. We've got Zofia and Sledge pushing in through there. Dowie's just got free reign, it seems, to do what he likes out here for the time being. So one thing Sugi was very good at doing last week against Timber was utilizing these air jabs in a very aggressive manner. And it was something that netted Enviik a fair few kills on their attacks. So we'll be looking out to see if he can do the same sort of thing. But right now we see Dowie being pressured inside of office. Mr. Easter walking right into his line of sight, and he takes out the drone as well. So the hunt still on for Dowie as he claims his second life of the match. And now pressure coming in from Blue Bar this time around. He sees the sledge hole there. Knows Zandini must be lurking nearby, but he's just wasting time and doing his job right here. The attackers need to try and close him down. They can't execute well up those stairs, up either of the sets of stairs, really, knowing that he can just pounce from beneath at any point. Josh now dropping down to offer some support coming through kitchen hallway, but just as I say that, Zandini manages to find Kung Fu Melons, but they might not be aware of the Jaeger lurking there, and Hoshi may just step into his line of sight any second now. Here we go, there's the peak, free kill for Josh, and now he knows that Sledge is also around, but he wanders straight into the open arms of Sugi, holding that flank. 2 versus 3 now for the remainder of this round. He's got a bit of time to drone it out. Zandini and Sugi opting for push from macro. It would seem they're going to push up these stairs. And so with Harris on site as the smoke, this is not going to be very good. Oh, Dowie. Dowie's still there. Dowie's lurking. He's going to be coming. I completely miscalled that. It was Kung Fu Melons that went down earlier. Dowie is still somehow alive, and he's going to be looking to try and get that flank up the lobby stairs. Cut off Sugi and Zandini, but that air jab is going to be a bit problematic for him. That said, Harris holding those toxic gas canisters as the first one comes out with 20 seconds left. This is going to be so difficult for Enviik, if impossible. Dowie landing a few shots there, but the air jag knocks him back, and the refrag coming out there from Harris. And another one for Harris. No, sorry, that is Jesus cleaning up at the end. Working in tandem with the other anchor, perfectly done there. An exemplary roam game there from Vex, denying so much ground and time, getting the picks and leaving Enviik just empty-handed for the execute. So there we saw it. Sugi once again doing that work as a Nomad. He's always there to pick up the refrags, it seems, and capitalize on the air jabs, especially on this map. He just seems quite proficient at it. But Enviik need more people going into those executes, and they need to make sure that they clean out those roamers more effectively. Dowie was allowed to lurk for way too long downstairs. I assumed that he'd been the one that been killed, but it was actually Kung Fu Melons uh, trying to support him, I
Attackers need to
suppose. I didn't
locate and
quite see
defuse
where that
bombs.
death was. My apologies, but yeah, it was
Attackers have
just the
discovered the
Dowie show
location
for
of
the
a bomb.
longest time there. And now we're going to be heading on to the kitchen. Deck's looking fairly
Attackers
dominant
have
in the
located a
first
bomb.
round, but perhaps a bit too early to judge. We are seeing Zandini bringing that sledge, pretty much essential for a clean take on kitchen. You need to be making sure to take down anyone in the master bedroom. And something that they might be worried about
10 seconds to
potentially
insertion.
is the Vexed have form on this map, and on this site in particular,
5
for
seconds
roaming
left.
especially heavy, and even bringing the cav sometimes. We've seen clips of Yuzus go and do work up there in the master bedroom. I believe it was a 3K he got against Timber a few weeks back here. So people need to be very diligent here, and the Nomad is definitely a big part of that. Often you see teams opt to bring the gridlock in place of that, but Sir Pega picking up the opening kill there onto Yuzus, and that's the one I dealt with already. So no magnets being tossed out beyond the few that he probably managed to at the very start, and that's a lot of utility denied, and a powerful weapon as well. Dowie getting into position to go for the run out, but Zandini's there, and he actually manages to deal more damage back to him than Dowie dealt. So missing out on that kill there and trading a lot of HP, but really the Sledge lucky to get away with that, right? So Mr. Easter now pressuring through theater. Josh lurking just beneath. Seems as though most of our defenders, yeah, I think all of our defenders are now on the bottom floor. So top floor control in the hands of Enviik, as long as they seal off those cool vibe stairs, which Sugi looks like he's heading to do right now with the air jab. Do you mind hit there by the IQ, or sorry, by the Zofia of Sapega, and taking their time right here. Kung Fu Melons, though, going to punish some of that hesitancy with C4 onto Zandini, getting rid of that vital soft destruction from beneath as well. That's a C4 onto VIP there. Good stuff. And Harris collecting the kill onto Sugi. 3 versus 4 now for the attack. They're all so spread out. They just don't have anything to work with. Mysteries are trying to go with this vertical destruction, but if Vex is smart, they won't be giving him an inch right here. It's like only the one drone as well available for Sapega, and the rest dealt with or sitting in flank positions potentially. And so very little intel to work with here. Josh, here's the drop. He's going to get the head of Sapega after hitting that goo mine. A perfectly laid trap there by the Legion. And now all the pressure from Enviik is going to be coming from this lobby side. And Josh smartly opening up a few holes from Blue Bar. He's going to be able to control some of that lobby area in case they go for that cross. But, oh, fluffed flashbang right there, and he pays for it with his life. Josh striking at range. No, it's Dowie, in fact, poking out there, and Josh close down very close there on Hoshi, but you can't write him off when he's got this G8 in hand. He finds the first, but with 13 seconds left, surely Vex are just going to play it safe. Hoshi can't work a magic every single time. The diffuser's down outside. Does find Dowie. Now he's going to try and find 2 more with 2 seconds left. It's just impossible. The crossfire comes out. Vexed playing that very aggressively at the very end. They did give him a chance, but ultimately lethal enough to deal with the IQ. And once again, Vex just shutting it down with the roam, getting that man advantage, and leaving Enviik high and dry for the take. So we're going to be heading now to Blue Bar as second successful defense for Vex now has just passed. going to be seeing a pulse from Dowie, and that's an interesting one, I suppose, for Blue Bar. I suppose looking to get some kills from the
Attackers need to
site before
locate
the
and
attackers
defuse
get
bomb.
in. Quite often you'd be taking the pulse for a hookah defense and trying to exert that control upwards, but I suppose it works this way round as well, as long as Enviik go for the vertical take. And so far, they have been. That was something that you can probably rely on for future rounds if you're defending. You know that Zandini's been consistently bringing that sledge. Mr. Risa on the Ash as well. Looks like Sapega's going to be doubling down on it somewhat as well, bringing that secondary shotgun with the Jackal, often overlooked as one of the features of his kit. But
10 seconds
clearly,
left
the
before
main
insertion.
reason behind that is going to be the trouble that they've been having dealing with
5
these
seconds
roamers
left.
on the side of Vexed. It's just been pretty much free reign for Dowie and for the users to do as they like in a lot of these rounds. And Enviik have had enough of it. We've got an extension into kitchen for the hold right here, as this is a fairly common aspect of your takes, of your holds rather, in bar. Making sure that you hold on to kitchen for as long as possible. It looks like Dowie's actually going to be the one playing inside there. No, my mistake. He's inside of office, so... Yeah, Josh the one in kitchen, my mistake. So we've got Legion trying to hold up that ground, and that's a pretty good place as Legion playing. You've got a lot of angles that definitely benefit from those goo mines as soon as the attackers step into them. Oh, an early engagement there, and Sapega ADSing perfectly, utilizing that angle grip perfectly there, finding the head of Kung Fu Melons. Dowie as well, finding the kill from beneath, though, in response. And our Easter Bunny, our favorite friend from last week, Mr. Easter, falling down early on. Zandini taken out by Harris as well. And early on, again, it's down to a 3 versus 4. Almost a 2 versus 4. So Pega takes a lot of flack there through the window of Blue Bar. Dowie calling out that he's nowhere near anymore, but they spotted this player directly above him. That is Hoshi inside of Billiards. And, oh, he's sitting still. This is free. Oh, no. He realizes and moves out of the way. Not enough done there, but Suki does get taken out there. On the flank, Hoshi, though, finds that kill onto the flanking player and actually reses Sugi. So back and forth there, actually working out in favor of Enviik. Just about a mistimed flank there. Catching out users. 3 versus 3 with a minute left. And for once, Enviik look like they're not actually in the disadvantage moving into the end game. And Pega creeping up here. He does have only a sliver of HP remaining, so any of these bullets whistling past his head could take him out right now. He is aware of that position, but that sightline is just not good enough for him. Here come the scans, though, and that's Dowie inside of office now, having to contend with the fact that the attackers know exactly where he is now for the remainder of the round, but Sapega going down, and Dowie peeking in perfectly, taking out Sugi. It's left all up to Hoshi. As Sapega is confirmed there by Josh. Hoshi finds the head of Josh, though. Immediate refrag from him, and now he has the pulse and the smoke to deal with. 22 seconds left here. Got a couple of drones in hand, but they won't be much use. He doesn't want to give away his position.
15 seconds.
Make sure not to step on that out of the way, and the peak comes in as he's known about there, finding the triple kill despite the spot on the camp. And now Hoshi can try and go for the plant. Dowie just biding his time inside of office. Hoshi sticking this plant by the bomb chassis. Dowie gonna peek in, and he doesn't need the kill as Hoshi falls off the plant, knowing it's in vain. There we have it. Once again, Enviik, the victims of time and just a lack of manpower in the final minute. It's just the same thing time and time again right now, and they're getting a bit better, but that was Vex's least favorite site. That was their tertiary site of Blue Bar and Sunrise Bar, and now with that complete cycle done, Enviik are really going to have to step up their game or bring something a bit different, and that's what Sapega looks to be doing. He's their flexing one at the moment. Bringing that Jackal last time around did help them out somewhat, but clearly it just needs a bit of a crutch right here as the face shield of Blackbeard being brought out, and now Vex can really start to play with their food. We see the Frost coming out here. We've seen them do this in the past. They are actually fans of bringing the Frost, particularly users. And hoping to catch out a few players here with those maps are just so so pesky and sometimes overlooked. Frost, interestingly, I believe, in ranked, has one of the highest win rates of any defender. So if you ever need a sign that ranked meta and comp meta are completely different, that's probably it. That being said, a couple of little sneaky Frost mats. Often only thought of as going under windows, whatever, but putting around corners in common places where you need the attackers to peek. Also a really good way of doing it. See, Dowie prepping for this spawn peek here. He's elevated inside a luggage on top of those, suitcases, I guess they are. Trying to hold this angle, but it doesn't look like anyone's spawned and coming that direction here from Enviik. They've learned their lesson from the first round. They don't want to be caught out anymore by these spawn peaks. Hoshi making his way to the top, and it looks like a bit of pressure on Hookah balcony. This is a very split push right here from Enviik. Everyone's just pushing in their own little direction. Maybe there's focus on bedroom going to be coming through and a sweep through from Master. That's what Zandini's repositioning would probably indicate here. Yeah, definitely taking their time about it, making sure that they drone out as much of that top floor as possible. Harris having taken a little bit of damage on that cross there. He's going to be stimmed back up there by the dock, and now Zandini having to take a couple of ticks of damage from that Gumai just to avoid being peeked there. But no one's nearby, so we continue the round just a little bit worse for wear. 1 minute 44 on the clock, and still quite slow progress here, but steady progress definitely nonetheless from Enviik. Ooh, the face shield coming into contention with the Frost here. Just got to land his shots, but the prone there completely baffling him. It looked like he'd become invisible for a second. He just perfectly timed drop shot onto the Blackbeard. And Josh going to find Mr. Reeser as well. Doesn't matter if you have the face shield, just go for the legs, says the Frost. So now, again, Enviik at the disadvantage here. These bullet holes prepped here, taking Sugi down to a single drop of HP. And again, these bullet holes catching out another push here. And that one is actually lethal. Zandini falls, but he's immediately refragged there by Hoshi. At least he's just keeping his team in this one. The top fragger for their side. And now he hears those goo mines going out behind him. He has to worry about it.
Bomb detected.
Got Harris trying to hold this position. Zowie finds Sugin all up to Hoshi yet again. He does take down one. 37 seconds left. A bit longer to work with than previously. Can't land the shots on the dock. Zowie falling back to safety now. 28 seconds to remain. He does have the fuser in hand, but that angle being held too well by Kung Fu Melons. MPX dealing that final blow. It was death from 1,000 cuts, really, for Hoshi right there. And now, Enviik are just struggling right now. This is just absolute domination from Vex. Hoshi the only one really putting up the numbers for Enviik, but they're all impacted as we see before us right now.
Bomb detected.
So, the flawless run continues so far. We haven't seen a single loss from Vex, and now being flexed onto by Yuzu. Just leaning into these trap hops. He's clearly just having a bit of fun with it at this point. And I don't know what we're going to see really from Enviik at this point. They just need to do something to turn it around. We're seeing lots of different kind of operator switches, but they need to change their mentality more than anything. At the moment, they're just playing into Vex and time again. We've got the Lion coming out now as a different kind of approach to solving that roam game problem that they're having such an issue dealing with. Slightly different lineup from Vex. We've got the kitchen defense, as I mentioned. Now, this time we've got Mute being brought just to deny a load of those drones coming in. Give the execute even more trouble at the very end.
5 seconds remaining.
I really don't know what it is right now with Enviik, but they're definitely struggling. They had a difficult time against Timber last week. Definitely more evenly matched sides Larry's struggling to get that cam out of that door. We've all been there, mate. That's a shared bit of sadness. But especially for myself, it's just, the amount of times that happens. We've got a player behind the lobby desk right now. I'm not too sure who this is on the defense, but he's definitely going to come under a lot of flack from the two outside Lamborghini doorway. It's Josh right now trying to battle back against these two attackers. He's actually managed to do a fair chunk of damage himself and is untouched. But the flash coming in doesn't actually affect him. The lion holding him in place, and now he's full blind, full stunned. The push has to come in right now from Enviik, but they're just not capitalizing on it. There we go. Finally shot in the back as Hoshi's managed to push his way all the way into lobby. This is where Hoshi can really do some dirty work. We've seen it before. If he finds an opening into bathroom, into kitchen itself, or through delivery, then he works his angles so perfectly. Mr. Issa, though, being taken down, he is the Sophia, so if he has a chance to withstand, he will do it. It looks like he's actually out of range of the finishing blow for Vexed. So Dowie being taken down there by Zandini. That E1D being put to good use, and now pressure on all sides for the defense. Hungry Men is going to spring into action, though, pouncing from above, and he finds one. This is a big flank from him as Mr. Easter finds one in return as well. But Hoshi shuts him down, and now all up to Yuzu, who's sitting by the delivery door. They know his location as well. Sapega's the one to find it. Enviik finally getting that push to work, grabbing their first attacking round. Nice use of that angle there by Sapega, slicing through the chassis and the locker, threading the needle right there to finish off the cap cannon. And yet again, Hoshi pushing up there at the top, 9 and 3 right now. Much more spread kill, much more spread kills from Vex. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Uzis bringing the Caveira and even showing it in the reveal phase. So. Oh no, it's even okay. Well, I was excited for the Caveira, but no, it's gonna come on, do it. Give us the warden. Come on. Oh, boring. Oh well.
Attackers need to locate
Gonna be
and
sticking with
defuse
the
as many
vigil
bombs as they
instead.
can.
Oh man, why do you do this to me?
Attackers have located the bomb.
We've seen you do the Cav before. It's worked so well. We've seen Enviik bring the Warden as well. I was excited to see a Warden at least. But it's just not the big. Either way. Another attempt at the kitchen defense. They don't want to be heading back to bar. Final round on the defensive half for Vexed.
10 seconds to insertion.
And this time we're seeing Dowie rocking that Echo as well. It's almost all change right here. No cap can.
Attackers
Just gonna mute the Vigil, mute the Jaeger and that Legion stuck with here. Prepping the run out here, uses looking to try and peek into ruins. Fairly standard run out, as we all know. Got to that cam, gets taken out, and he hears the IQ tearing open that door behind him, or underneath him rather. Country Melons is there on that level as well to try and receive that pressure.
Attackers have
He's got the
located a
barricaded
bomb.
door in front of him, so that's going to be helpful as a sound cue. Hoshi, though, has the tools to try and deal with that goo mine setup that he's faced with. This is exactly what Hoshi wants to do every single round, really. He's pushing through offices. It's such a singular sort of route. You just have to focus directly what's ahead of you, and he loves doing that. But Kung Fu Melons is going to be in front of him, and he can't deal with it. Uses as well, finding the head of Zandini. And Sugi being taken down to a fraction of HP as well. Hoshi dropping a nice shot. Such a shame we didn't see it, but Sugi there being dropped now and almost confirmed, but the impact doesn't connect. Second one as well sails overboard, and Josh finding Sapega basically leaves with Mr. Issa in a 1 versus 5. He can't even finish off Josh there. Finally does, as the Legion risks it all to secure the kill on the Nomad there. And just like that, Mr. Issa now, our favorite Easter Bunny, has to 1v5 clutch this. He is a Sophia, so he has plenty of tools at his disposal, but this is not a good side of the map if you want to be avoiding the runouts, really. Looks like he's just hiding, expecting the aggression, trying to bait it out a little bit here. Usus is contemplating it. Mr. Easter needs to like make a little bit of noise here,
Defender has
maybe
left the
give
designated
the
staging
defense
area.
the
Defender
impression
has
that
been
they are
discovered.
going for these runouts. Or that they can go for these runouts. Here we go. Gonna have users being fully detected out here right now, and that's just to give the
Defender
defense
exposed.
the opportunity to run out and not trigger the timer. So look at this. He's just doing laps. You know what they say? Don't miss leg day. He's just getting in his daily government sanctioned exercise during the quarantine period. Isn't this wonderful? Mr. Issa just hiding, waiting out the timer. Just try to take this extended time out here to give Enviik a bit of time to work out what they're doing. Here we go. He jumps in and he falls to his death immediately. So an effort was made, but using that time just to have a little chat and let users do his daily exercise up there. So 5-1 at the split there, and Hoshi really the only one doing any dirty work for Enviik. Going to be swapping onto the defense, and 5-1 on the split, especially after the defensive half, is not what you after your attacking half, really. I mean, it could be worse, but I mean, Enviik basically were an attacking side. That's the main problem right here, is that they were really
Attackers need to
performing
locate and
last
defuse
week
bombs.
against Timber on attack, especially Hoshi. In the defensive half, it usually fell more on Mr. Easter, and he's going to be on that Legion right now. And we're going to be looking to him to perform this half right now to try and get something going for Enviik. They've just been really lackluster so far, and in the one round where they actually managed to take the win on that kitchen attack, it all came down to Hoshi managing to sweep in once again undetected. That's just been the story of Enviik on Coastline. Whether it's against Timber or Vex, they just seem to rely on him a bit too heavily at the moment. And he does definitely perform as well on the fence, but like I said, Mr. East is the one to look to. Vex, though, just been really a class above Enviik for the most part on this game. Harris is going to be bringing that Nomad as well as it was Sugi on Envik's side. So clearly favoring the air jabs over the gridlock, track stingers. It's often sort of toss up between those two, as I mentioned before. You don't really need the hard reach coming into Coastline, so just making sure that you bring even more utility to help your side out and catching out those flankers, locking off those runouts as well. Pretty important because a lot of the defensive strategy often relies on getting early and trying to play outside the map. So that's why you see air jabs quite frequently. Gridlock usually favored by teams that can manage to get into the building a lot sooner and also try and leverage a bit of that extra utility for the execute. The smokes as well being a reason to maybe take Gridlock over Nomad from time to time. Zandini being caught out there behind the shield, and that's a big loss for the defense, as well as Sapega going down. That's a C4 and your Yokai's off the board. So very little in the way of counter now, besides Sugi and his 3 toxic gas canisters. Mr. Easter trying his best to protect that anchor position there, but Dowie bringing that Habana means that the smoke can no longer sit pretty, and Josh, they've already taken cool vibes. Here comes the pistol, already downing Hoshi, and the last one's left. Come through Melons, a flawless round. My word, Vex just storming into sight right there. That was absolutely ruthless there. They're on match point already, guys. I mean, I said that Coastline was the map where we were possibly going to see Enviik actually duke it out a little bit with Vexed. We've seen fairly promising stuff from them, and also not as much from Vexed on this map in general. They've been so dominant on Consulate throughout the season. I really cannot see how Enviik can bring it to them. The only thing really Enviik have going for them there is that they've only been there twice. They've lost both times, though. One of those was a 7-0 to Lucendi as well, so it does speak to potentially just us witnessing a bit
Attackers
of a
need to
whitewash
locate
here
and
today.
defuse as many bombs as they can.
There is always a chance for Enviik to turn it round though right now, and we've got 5 rounds for them to try and
Attackers have
string
located a
together.
bomb.
They've only managed 1 so far in this matchup, and yeah, like I said right now, they just seem to be being outclassed. And before the season, you might have looked at these 2 squads and said they're slightly closer together, but Enviik have just dropped off a little bit in terms of performances. Vex, if anything, they've just been improving game after game,
10
and
seconds left.
I mean they have plenty of
5
they have
seconds
plenty of food on their plate as well. They're doing good stuff outside this league as well, and
Attackers' objective is to defuse
the
the
fact that
bomb.
they're tearing up this one at the same time is just it's testament to how good they are right now at the moment. So we've got Vex heading again with this Hibana. They do favor this hard breach to try and open up the site, especially on Hookah. They want to just unseat that smoke, that common position, that very last point of holding inside of Cocktail. Pega opening up a few vertical holes here, looking to play into Aquarium himself, or sorry, into Office from Aquarium. Sugi, though, being taken down early, and looks like the Legion crossing the line of sight of Mystery, so he just pushed his way into Kitchen, completely undetected. Again, 2 men down, not even a minute gone, your smoke is off the board. I mean, Sapega and Santini both have C4s in hand. They've got to be hoping for a miracle right now with some of those. You've got to go for the big impact plays in this position. Try and get beneath. Try and avoid the attackers. Land a big C4 onto 1 or 2 of them. Here comes one of those attempts here. Sapega tossing that out onto the balcony, but the Vex player just nowhere to be seen there. Users having backed away for that moment. And now Sapega being caught out on the flank downstairs. Dowie finding 1 as well. And there we have the Jaeger battling now in a 1 versus 5. He finds Dowie. But with 1 minute 30 seconds left, Vex have all the time in the world to plant. Kung Fu Melon sticking it inside of Hookah. And right now, the flash is coming, holding him at bay. Lovely jiggle peek there. Finds the head of Yuzu. So 1 versus 3 in the post plant now. Hoshi just pre-firing through that wall. But he's just not going to expect this position from Josh, surely. And Harris is the one to claim it from Cool Vibe Stairs. Vex completing the map, making it look absolutely easy for them. Good half coming out in chat. And 7-1, the final scoreline. Dowie getting to show off that lovely Hibana Elite with the longbow. And rightly so, as he picked up an impressive 9 kills there. Although Josh may feel a little bit hard done by with 10. And Hoshi as well with 11. I mean, but look at that on the rest of Enviik. 2s and 3s across the board, just really not performing to the same level as Hoshi. And it's been a bit of a disappointing one for them so far this season, and on Coastline in particular, especially Hoshi, who's always there to try and pick up the numbers. But we're going to be taking a very short break for the moment. Do stick around, as we will be ready to go into the next map fairly soon. So yeah, just go grab yourself a drink, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes. game of the day, we have Consulate for you right here between Enviik and Vex. We just saw Vex take the first map of the series very convincingly 7-1 on Coastline, but will Enviik be a bit more convincing here? That's what we're going to find out. So, Enviik first off banning that Thatcher out, and that's actually fairly surprising from them. They've tended to ban Capital, Blackbeard, other sort of non-essential operators, essentially. Capital, though, often favored as a ban by Vex, so not surprising to see that come through. Does leave all of our hard breaches on the board, as well as IQ, which has occasionally seen bans just to counter Valk. But speaking of Valk, we're very much expecting to see a Valk ban here, and there we have it. Vex always preferring to play Consulate without that presence on the board. And Enviik, they've also always banned Valk on Consulate, so this could be whatever it could be. I mean, it might be Echo. I'd expect either Echo or Maestro, potentially a Mirror if they're not comfortable playing against a Mirror on this map, and it is a Mirror. So both Echo and Maestro left alive here and available for the taking by the defense. So pretty interesting ban phase right there. Like I said, Valk ban's not too uncommon on Consulate, but Mirror ban's definitely more so. Her not being as essential for most of the holds, or as well, I mean, as effective on a lot of the holds. But this is EU, and Mirror is just a staple ban most of the time, regardless of the map. So, we're going to be starting with Enviik on the defense. And this is, as I should mention as well, this is Vexed map pick, and it's been their map in every sense of the word for the whole season, really. They've been incredibly dominant on it. They've won 7-1 against Regnant, 7-5 against Lucendi, 7-1 against UX, and 7-2 against Budapest 5. And those teams are no slouches. Budapest 5 and Lucendi have been doing pretty damn well this season. Enviik, on the other hand, have had a real struggle. So this has a one-sided game written all over it, quite honestly. But Enviik have looked a better side in recent weeks in general. Hoshi especially has been performing pretty outstandingly, even top fragging on that previous map despite only gaining one round. So I would never write them off. They just seem like the kind of side that if you get them on a good day, then they could beat anyone. But can they beat Vex is the real question right now. We're seeing this basement defense come out from Enviik,
5 seconds to go.
and nothing too unusual. We've got the Maestro and the Echo, plus the Pulse, so all the intel you could possibly want on the defense, really, with that Valk ban still in play, obviously, and the Mirror. So pretty much every single available intel op, if you want to be thinking about it that way, or like hard intel, I suppose, you know, in the sense that Ella and Legion do gather intel, but very limited. It's not their kind of main purpose. Anyway, that aside, we've got Mr. Reese trying to hold down inside a lobby, but Josh is already above him, and taking control of the top floor is a bit of a task on Consulate as just one person. You really do need a couple people or a Claymore or so to make sure that those stairs aren't flanked up. This is very much a roamer's map. You've got so many options in terms of dropping through through hatches, running upstairs, lots of runouts, lots of spawn peaks. So it's surprising to see Mr. Easter fall back quite so readily there. Obviously, this site execute is a well-established component of Siege and the meta. Ever since the dawn of Siege, really, this garage is pretty iconic, you could call it. 1 minute 45 left, and they have managed to breach open said garage, so pretty good progress considering, but there has not been any breach denial on the side of Enviik. Oh, getting aggressive up these stairs, and he's actually going to pay for it there. The Jaeger falling to Yuzus, and Dowie finds the second. Sugi going down. Once again, Hoshi and Co in a 3 versus 5. Enviik looking to hold firm with the Echo and the Maestro still alive. All those intel ops remaining, but the smoke gone. Sapega shutting down Kung Fu Melons, but immediately being refragged from above. Dowie doing work as a sledge, his second kill of the round there. And now 2 versus 4 for the defense. The diffuser has been left outside, so that will buy them a little bit of time here. And time is exactly what they need, especially with those yokais on the board and no IQ. crucially being brought by Vexed. They don't like to bring the IQ on attack, which is probably why we don't see them let the Valk through any of those ban phases. But right now, Yuzu's just
Attackers have
firing a
recovered
few
their
shots. They're
diffuser.
trying to open up a bit of floorboard, it would seem, inside of Antechamber. And Josh has managed to sneak into White Van and getting the diffuser down. Pulse falls to Dowie, holding the cross there. The Echo stunned just a moment too late, and it gets shot out as well. Zandini left with it all to do, and he's wandering right into the arms of the attackers right there. An easy win for Vex. They made it look so simple in the end. 4 players left standing, almost flawless. Clean headshot at the end there by users, and nice double kills for both him and the sledge of Dowie. Oh, actually, Dowie got got a 3K in that round, so very nice one by him. So, looks like Vexed are picking up exactly where they left off, and Enviik, despite this not being their map pick, it means that they get to choose what side they go on first. So they opted to defend first, and it's not very promising when you lose your first defense, especially in the current meta, not least when you lose your first defense
Attackers need to locate
on
and
a map
defuse
that you've
as many
chosen to
bombs as
defend
they
first.
can.
So hopefully Enviik can put together a couple of rounds. If they don't manage to get a couple of their first few defenses at least together, then I really don't see this going their way, just by the way that they've been performing today versus Vex. But we will see, as right now we've got a little bit of a mix-up here. Hoshi moving on to the Vigil here, and we see a bit more of a lockout strategy coming through, rather than trying to lean on all that intel with the Yokais, with the pulse scanner. They didn't really leverage that intel very effectively last round, so denying a bit of the drone work from Vex might well be the way to go. An interesting Evil Eye right there. That could quite easily be taken out by anything really from the attack, a frag grenade or lifeline through that hole. And there's a neat little deployable shield that people often forget about. I haven't seen that one in actually quite a while, weirdly. Just on top of that box, gives you an extra little anchor point and extra protection when rotating from the hallway as well, if the attackers have the angle from garage. But right now, we don't need to worry about that. We're looking at the top floor, and Yuzis has managed to flash himself. Hoshi and I believe Mr. Easter, yeah, it is Mr. Easter upstairs providing that resistance, and this is dual presence right here inside of admin, or just outside of admin, really. Zandini, the other attacker or defender on that top floor, though, being caught out by the flank hold of Dowie there. Just repel on connector window, catching out the one defender, and now it's a 2-2 split, really, up and down for the defense, and because of that, Mr. Easter is going to be falling back to site. He doesn't want to leave his anchors with not enough protection, as that breach does get open fairly early on and successfully yet again. No breach denial being attempted here, round after round by Enviik. The zaps coming through onto Dowie, as there's one Evil Eye in that far corner that they have to deal with, and this is actually a nice little Evil Eye setup, having some crossfire onto the breach. You might not necessarily expect the second one directly below Mr. Easter right here, who is still lurking in piano, and that's important ground to have under your control as a defender. Vex are going to need to push him out if they want to execute cleanly onto site, because he can quite easily work the floorboards, although he doesn't actually have any soft destruction to his name, so it will be a bit more challenging to him. He'll have to rely on the hard pings from the Evil Eye should it come to that. Users, though, finding Serpega, and that's your Maestro gone, so no more active pestering from those Evil Eyes. And Kung Fu Melon shuts down Mr. Easter as well, as he goes for a very aggressive run out there. That's not the play you want to be making with a minute left, and it's still at the man disadvantage. First smoke grenade comes out, but it's actually dealt with, weirdly. I think that was that might have been taken out by the lifeline that was intended for the Evil Eye. So very unlucky there. Yuzu's pushing into Car and now finding Suki. Kung Fu Man is going to stick with the diffuser. It's all up to Hoshi, but Yuzu's again. Such a big round from the Hibana. Claims the life of the final defender there, taking the head off the Echo, and well, that's again a really solid attack onto the basement from Vexed. Once more, they only lose one life, and This is really not good from Enviik. They need to be gathering some of those kills. Yuzu's picking up a 3k in that round as well. Just going toe-to-toe with Josh right now, trying to claim that top fragging position. They're playing for fun right now, right here. People say they don't take Vex to coastline, but I mean, they've been even more proficient on Consulate right now in this league, and people just keep taking them there as well. Got to be banning out coastline and Consulate for this team right here. Either way, we're going to be seeing a second site here now. Enviik giving up on that bottom floor. They don't want to have any more rounds where they only manage to get one kill. So heading to the top where you can potentially rely a little less on the anchors to hold. Like, quite often, a good successful basement hold relies on your anchors doing work, and your Roman's really just sort of burning time, if anything, or maybe getting a spawn peak. Whereas on this top floor, you really need to be you sort of layer up your defense essentially from across the entire top floor. Sometimes you'll opt to hold inside of admin or a little bit further back. Sometimes you just offer that to the attack. But it's a slightly different style of defense. We don't actually see... oh no, we do see a couple of C4s on Enviik's side, so they do have the opportunity of playing from beneath. Especially with those pests. Sugi being caught out early on there, the cheeky little repel on Spiral, leaving him with about 20 HP, and that's not great when you're a smoke. You really need as much health as you can keep hold of to just fend off any spray that might come from the attackers, really. They are usually aware of your general location when you toss those canisters, so any returning fire is probably likely to end him right now when it comes to it. Vex already have control of the yellow stairs, and Harris finding an opening frag onto Mr. Easter, expecting that flank from beneath and shutting down the Jaeger. So easy stuff there for Vex right now. Josh finds Sugi, that's the smoke who was lit up earlier on, being dealt with as he already pushes his way into bathroom, meeting some resistance now from Zandini, who's taking the role of that maestro, but Kung Fu Melons takes out the Goyo in the meantime. And with still half the round to go, Enviik have less than half their players. Now they only have one. That same repel catching him out. And Dowie, the flawless round finally for Vex. They do it perfectly on the third time of trying. And now, really, Enviik have got to be feeling this mentally. They're being smacked about right here. It's honestly just difficult to talk about this right here. There's just so little to analyze. Vex are just pushing in, meeting very little resistance, and winning the fights, quite crucially. I mean, so often though, the Enviik are kind of just they're being taken down from behind. They're being taken down from above. The flank holds have got them in their grips, and there's just no worming their way out of the situation. So a bit of a raged Chanka coming out right here from Zandini here on Enviik. And, I mean, why the flip not, really? At this point, you've got so little to play for right here. Vex are just trouncing you, and Enviik, this game really does mean a lot to them. They really need to be racking up the points. They've only actually got one more game remaining in the season. That is against UX, and that will be a very crucial one to try and fight for the remaining championship spot. But they need to give themselves as much of a chance in that as possible. Timber and UX are still also scrapping around at that bottom at the bottom of the table for that 6th place, and the fact that Enviik are playing UX as well next week is a pretty important factor in this. And Zandini doesn't even manage to get his Harris set up. It's just not going well for him there. Harris managing to find Mr. Easter as the Jaeger tries to go for the spawn peak from Antichamber, but they must be expecting the second player inside of Piano. And if they don't now, then they're idiots, because that spray will give him away. Zandini retreating now, falling back, and Sapega being tagged up. Doesn't even have time to stim himself back up after he dropped onto 1 health. Kung Fu Melons finishes the job soundly there. 30 seconds gone, already 2 defenders off the board. Kung Fu Melon's going to get this wall open with ease. No adaptation from Enviik here to try and deny this wall either. The turret has been set up, however. This is at least something to work with. But the angle's a bit of a tough one because, of course, that is a... there's an elevation to this position. So it means that you can't actually get the angle if the player is prone or close to the breach. So Kung Fu Melon going prone there and trying to take out the turret at range. Harris is above, and Dowie will be soon too. In fact, Dowie's going to be pushing through from Spiral, and he finds Zandini there, taking out the Chanka now. Just 2 left, and they can't land their shots. They just can't do it. Vexed are making light work of them. The diffuser once again will be stuck by Kung Fu Melons. Why not? Hoshi in the 1 versus 5 with the P10 Roni. Not the ideal weapon to be making these clutches. You've got to land all the headshots in the world. We've got an area denial frag coming out. Hoshi's going to find the opening frag. No, he's not. He's shut down. Another flawless round from Vexed as Josh takes out the Mozzie. This is just falling to pieces right now. They've gathered 2 kills in 4 rounds. Enviik, what are you doing? You need to wake up. Not to discredit Vexed or anything, right? They're playing admirably, and everyone knows that this is such a good map for them at this point in time. You can really see just how ruthless they are. They all know it so well. Everyone on their side is just sort of playing so fluidly, stepping up, doing exactly what they need to do, and then some. Dowie just having the confidence at that point in time as the Sledge, who, you know, typically the Sledge, what you're going to do on a basement take, you've got to destroy the floor from above. You take piano. You work that floorboard, you cheese it up, you make it as annoying as possible for any remaining anchors, but he's just on one, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to push solo down Spiral, and he gets a frag off of it, and then some. So it's just not really even coming down to outstratting at this point. Vexed just know the map well enough to be comfortable getting the cross angles, getting like into position to lock out defenders. We saw them do it so well on the previous top floor attack. Having the repels and the angle just set up to take out anyone rotating, anyone flanking. The skylight angle being held perfectly by Harris at the very start, and the repel angle as well onto connector, just completely slicing the defense in two. No resistance as well from Enviik. They need to be making sure that those positions are contended. That's why really you ideally are able to bring the Valkyrie to enable the run out to prevent the repels, but Vex just banning that out and making sure that they're as comfortable as possible attacking this site and holding those angles from outside. It works perfectly for them. They've just got this map down to a T, basically. And right now, they're sitting on a 4-0 lead because of it, and they're looking very likely to solidify their spot at the top of the table with a couple of wins today. Long angle being held by Yuzus here. The holo doesn't matter to him. He's going to try and find that shot all day long. He's already sitting on 5 kills for the day. Dowie on 6. And Sapega, the first to fall there, Yuzus with that angle actually taking out the Wamai inside of CEO. Zandini the next to go. Josh finding 2 on his entry, pushing right on into the site. I forget the name of it for some reason. Projector. Meeting. Hoshi finds 1 on the response though, and that's great. Mr. Issa gets another, but he's immediately shut back down again by the Zafira. Josh doing such hard work this game. And again, it's all up to Hoshi in the 1 versus 4. He finds 1, the diffuser dropped, and that's actually a big kill, but the draining bullets come in. He almost lands the headshot onto the last, or one of the 2 remaining attackers there. The 1v2 is definitely winnable. C4 comes out, but the game sense is just not there. The player has already made their way into sight. They're running as far as possible now to try and plant in the distance site here. Users with the cover, Josh getting the diffuser stuck now. If Hoshi is going to clutch any round right now, this is going to be it. He needs something for his team right now. They're looking to their star player, but Vex have set themselves up perfectly for this post plant right now. Josh holding on the rappel with that lifeline. He can just stun to deny the plant at this point in time. And 1 player that is uses outside, watching for the yellow stairs run out. Hoshi's peeking everything. He's got to do this absolutely perfectly to try and win, but honestly, I cannot see Vex giving it away. Just trying to stick the diffuser. He sees one, he can't finish it off. It's actually the Claymore that claims him. No, it's not. My mistake. I saw an explosion. Uses, finishes him off first, and there we have it. Yeah, the Claymore is not a Claymore. It was a lifeline. So Hoshi gets taken down in the final moments. 5-0 now. At least Enviik looked like they were putting up a fight that round. Right? They managed to actually get a few kills there. 3 for the round. Hoshi getting a couple himself. Mr. Easter 1 for his name as well. But a couple of players sitting on donuts and just not the right performances from the team all round means that Vexed, once again, are feeling fun and fancy-free. They're just going to be doing whatever they want. Glaz being flashed there by Dowie, and he might actually want to stick with this, because, quite honestly, why not? No, he's going to be switching to the Nomad there. Vex playing to win. They are absolutely ruthless at this point. They're not going to be giving Enviik an inch to work with. They want to shut this out in a flawless half. They've already seen 2 flawless rounds in a row. And the first 2 rounds were almost flawless, only losing a life in each one. So, the one good thing you can say about Enviik right now is that they are steadily improving. But they've just left it too late, quite honestly. 5-0, looking like you might manage to get your last offensive round if the momentum can stay with you. But you're relying so heavily on Hoshi and his individual performances at this point in time. Mr. Eater just hasn't been there today on the defenses like he was last week against Timber. And the rest of the team is sort of lagging behind, really. They need to take the fight to Vex. Their spawn peaks in the, a couple of rounds ago just didn't work out at all. Bring the alibi now to try and assist with some of these spawn peaks here. But Vex are going to be wise to this. They know that this is exactly what Enviik are trying to do. And all of this aggression is leaving open a massive gap for Josh to wander in and take the head of Sugi. He finds a second on his entry, almost a third, but he's shut down there. And that's Zandini finally getting killed with a P90 of all guns. That is the spawn peak gun. And he finds one, at least, in for his efforts. He spots the Nomad, but can't quite find the head there. 3 versus 4. The Dowie shutting down Hoshi, and the rotate shut down as well of that alibi means that it's all up to Zandini. He's got to land all his shots. The P90 rattling out, but he can't fight the drop there from the top. And there we have it. Yuzus closing out the half. A perfect attacking half for Vex. 6-0 on Coastline. Could this be their second 7-0 of the season on this map? Well, quite honestly, Enviik, they just need to do anything right now. They could potentially pull this back. You know, it's mathematically possible, right? It's not out of their reach to draw. That's all they can get from this right now is a draw. Sepega bringing the Ying, and Kung Fu Melons is going to hard counter that. And I'm really, really hoping that we get to see some actual use of the Inox. No, it's not the Inox. That's Jackal's gadget. What is Warden's one called? The Super Specs. I don't know. I can't actually remember. I'm usually good at this. I usually remember all the names of the gadgets in the game, but I'm drawing a blank on Warden. I guess it's because he's never played. Well, I just want to I want to see Kung Fu Melons get a nice triple with the shotgun. That's all. Just give me something. Give us something right now to be happy about. I don't want to end the day with an absolute whitewash, but it looks like we're heading that way. As there's just nothing stopping the Vex train right now. Enviik have already had most of their drones dealt with in the prep phase. That's really not great. That's actually very bad. Sepega the only one with a drone remaining at the end of that prep phase. So already Enviik are going to be going in fairly blind. Looks like they want to rush lobby, potentially. This is a lobby hold as well. I haven't even mentioned that yet. We've got a lobby hold going on. Is that a team kill? No, it's not. Kung Fu Melon's holding firm as the Warden. Does take down one with the MPX and actually rushing in to claim the life of the Warden. So now they've rushed into sight. They find the Yokai bearing Echo. Somehow he misses the shots, and there we have it. Mr. Easter finally claims that one. Sugi takes down Harris, and this rush strike might actually net Enviik their first round of the map. Dowie last standing with Yuzus, who finds one, and he spots a second, but these Candelas are falling a bit short of the mark. Dowie holds the control above, but Mr. Easter is trying to plant inside of Piano. He downs the Ying. The plant will be successful, though. Zandini's on the cover, and the pistol shots almost work. Yuzus, though, goes down, and it's all up to Dowie above. And now Zandini has the time to retreat outside for the post plant. Mr. Easter sitting inside a bathroom right here. He has time to toss out a drone, and there we have the lit up Habana. Now she's actually been down there. Dowie does have a chance to seal this one. He just needs to find the Ash. He knows he's in bathroom. He has the intel. He expects it. He downs him. Amazing clutch there from Dowie. Surely he knows that the down is there. He has to go and defuse it now. He must expect it. The GGs indicate that Enviik have failed. The clutch from Dowie gives them something to sing about after a failed rush from Enviik. And Vexed 7-0 on Coastline for the second time this season. They've done it. I'm just appreciating the incredible detail on Bandit's hand right there. I've never noticed that. That must be an elite skin uniqueness. But either way, users claiming the MVP of the map. And right there, though, I've got to say my MVP for the game has to be Dowie. 8 kills and that impressive clutch to give them that flawless win at the end of it. Users as well, though, performed incredibly on Coastline. So overall, he's got to be my MVP for the day. And that is pretty much it for today. We're going to be closing this one out. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to cast for you today. Even though the games were a little bit one-sided, we did get a decent amount of entertainment out of them, especially that final clutch. I'm so glad we got to see something pretty exciting at the end there. Dowie doing all that hard work to win them that flawless match. So, I'm getting used to my camera being there and not there, so I keep looking up and going, hey, no, you're over there. So anyway, hi, and thank you very much for watching. That's going to be it from me today. We do have more games with you on Sunday, and yep, that's pretty much it. I'm going to say thank you to Trix and to Stephanie, who's been doing an excellent job on the production and the observing for today. Yeah, cheers. I've been Jerry the Music Man. You can follow me at JerryCast on Twitter. Do drop the channel a follow, and make sure you follow us on all our socials as well to keep up to date with everything that's going on. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and thank you for watching. Do come back on Sunday for more.